everyone, and welcome back to the Dwarven Tavern. I am Dr. Jeff Goins, as I have been in the past, and probably will continue to be in the future. Today, I'm going to be talking about this new Pathfinder 2nd Edition book. And yes, we do reviews on things other than Pathfinder, but they've sent us a lot of stuff. So, and I love the 2nd Edition books anyway. So, what can you do? This is called the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Lost Omens. Gods and Magic goes for $34.99. So, what is this book? This is obviously the Gods and Magic, and of course, the artwork, just first off, at first glance, it maintains Pathfinder's, oh my God, high standards for illustration. Paizo, they can do it. I mean, they've got it going on. Our artists, I'm looking to see their list of artists because I love them all. There's quite a list of very talented young folks. Not that I'm old folks, and not that they're young folks. I guess that was a misnomer. So anyway, the Ekaterina Burmack did the cover, and really enjoy Ekaterina's work. There's just a large number of very, very talented folks who do the art because, just as Disney said that music was the immersion that you like, that you get into when you're watching a cartoon or any other feature film, so too do books take us in with illustrations, because the music doesn't happen too much in books, so you have to go with the video part of audio visual. Anyway, the work is just fantastic, the artwork. So we have a number of chapters. Well, yeah, even zero is a number, so if there were no chapters in it, there would still be a number of chapters. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chapters and an appendix. It's 134 pages, which may or may not seem like a lot to you, depending on if you like to read or not. Here, this is an example of the artwork. That image of the demon lord with the freaking kukri, just not someone you'd want to date, I'm sure. So this one is all about the presence of magic and the divinity. Pathfinder has, as we have discussed in the past during the review of the core rules for 2nd edition, has the 4 traditions of magic are in Pathfinder 2: arcane, divine, occult, and primal. And divine magic, as it says here on page 6, for a faithful character, divine magic is usually the most intrinsically appealing, as it reflects a direct connection to a deity, which, if it's divine, it is connected to a deity, if you will. It is the intersection of the instinctual and faith-based vital essence that rules over life and death, and the otherworldly spiritual essence that forms the building blocks of all souls. It can close wounds in seconds, call down blasts of divine vengeance, uncover hidden truths, reveal the future, and even temporarily turn a devotee into an avatar of their god. So, why belief matters? Well, in the real world, belief is arguably the most powerful force in existence. And why do I say that, you may ask? Why I say that is, it is the work of humanity, the work of human beings, and in this case, other species as well. It is their belief that begins and ends all wars, right? And I do wax philosophical because it's kind of my nature. But the nature of belief is that if you believe it to be a way, then it will attain that way. It will become that way. It's one of the terms is self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you're a good person, you'll be a good person. If you believe that you suck, you will. And so forth and so on. Well, so too with the larger things. If you believe a thing can be built, then, I mean, look at Elon Musk, right? And every other creator and inventor. So belief in this book is synonymous with with faith. And it's true. I mean, faith is belief. If you have faith that a thing can be done, then you believe it can. So, and it talks in this book about the role of gods. As befits a reality in which gods and magic are demonstrable, the deities of the Pathfinder setting are not aloof constructs whose power merely provides options for character creation, much like the real world, right? That depends on your faith. If you have gods or a god, and that's entirely your option. And I neither disparage nor encourage any belief or non-belief. I have my own, and I believe that you should have yours as well. And that's just how it is. That's how we all get along, right? And that's an important thing, no matter what you believe. They are deeply involved in the fabric of reality, reshaping the course of Galarion, which is the Pathfinder 2 world. People in particular, ascension to godhood is a real and living thing on Galarion. Deities including Arazni, Caden, Kalian, Iomade, Norgorber. Norgorber is obviously the god of gooey snacks. I'm sorry, I got me there. The rules elements. This book presents the following new rules elements. Alternate domains. Each deity grants 4 domains. These are their primary domains. Some deities, however, have such expansive jurisdiction that more than 4 domains are appropriate for them. Many of these alternate domains are available only to characters who specialize in these areas, as they often fall outside of their deity's main purposes or areas of focus. And there are 2 feats. One is a level 4 feat called Expanded Domain Initiate, which means that you can follow one of your deity's lesser known domains, as it says. And the Splinter Faith, which is a level 1, is your faith in your deity is represented in an extremely unusual way that some might call heretical. For example, Saint Nicholas, who is not technically a deity in Christianity, but Saint Nicholas is a saint. He's sainthood, so demigod in other pantheons, perhaps. He is the saint of his domains are little children, I believe, and sailors, and possibly horses. I may or may not be right on the horses. I would have to look that up, but sailors is the truth. Sailors were supposed to pray to Saint Nicholas at one point. I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm not 100% up on my Santa Claus lore, but Santa Claus is a repronunciation of Saint Nicholas. Think about it. Changing faith is a thing. It is covered. Divine intercession is covered when way back in first edition D&D, if you were an exemplary follower of your deities or pantheon's deities plan, then if you prayed to one of them, there was a 5% chance in a lifetime that the deity would intervene. And we actually had that occur in Bolgan's dungeon. There was such a terrible chain of events that happened that they prayed to, I believe it was Thor, and because one of them was Norse, and I rolled a 0-3. I remember like it was yesterday, and even though it was in the early 80s, and Thor came down and freaking rocked the joint, as one might expect. Mjolnir. So then you can have a background of raised by belief, which many of us were. Whether we rebelled against said beliefs or not is a different subject. But with this one, you may choose 2 ability boosts. One boost may be to an ability specified in the divine ability entry or for your deity, and one is a free ability boost. So there you have it. It is covered. And then we go to the gods of the inner seas, which is covered. Starting on page 52, we have other deities, and of course it has the listing of what each heading means. For example, we have Abadar or Abadar or Fnur. However you want to pronounce it, only I probably would not suggest Fnur. Master of the First Vault, a lawful neutral god of cities, law, merchants, and wealth. His realm the listing is Actun, which is Axis, law. Allies is, believe it or not, Asmodeus, Bry, Erastil, Iamadi, Irori, Shalene, Shizuru, and Toreg. His enemies are Besmara, Lamashtu, Norgorber, because as we know, gooey snacks is not lawful. I'm sorry, I have to look at it just to see what Norgorber is in fact the deity of. And Ravagug. God darn. It's Gabada. His temples are banks, cathedrals, and courthouses. His worshippers are architects, bankers, and lawmakers. His sacred animal is the monkey. He's a cheeky monkey. The sacred colors are gold and silver. Right? Divine abilities, constitution, or intelligence. And his alternate domains is duty. So, there you have it. And then it goes on to talk about Abadar as a whole. His divine intercession, minor boon. He warns his favored against those who might unfairly take advantage. Be careful. That one is an elf. So, a moderate boon, he blesses all your enterprises, leading to financial success. A major boon, your silver tongue is infallible, allowing you to reach a compromise, even if one is only remotely possible. And then he has curses. Anytime you steal or illegally harm or kill another creature or undermine a law-abiding officer or court, a symbol or word describing your crime appears visible on a visible spot on your skin. It cannot be removed or hidden with makeup, though it can be covered with clothing. So, and then it's got moderate curse and minor curses. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up Norborger. I'm going to see if Norborger's in here. Oh no, Toreg. Oh wait, I made Ravagug. Is he the god of rednecks or hillbillies? Okay, here we go. Norgorber, Blackfinger's father, Skin Saw, the Grey Master, Reaper of Reputation. Now, that's kind of anticlimactic, the Reaper of Reputation. He will make you look bad. Although if he's a skin saw, you will lose face. So, Norgorber is the most mysterious of the Ascended, a group of mortals who assumed godhood after passing a test of the Starstone. Unlike Iamades and Caden Kalian's mortal existence, Norgorber's life before his ascension is a mystery. The god himself is shrouded in detail of his mortal life in secrecy. This is no surprise to those who familiar with Norgorber. He's the master of all secrets, calculating manipulator, who cleverly and ruthlessly wields the power of hidden knowledge to achieve his own ends. So his domains are, he's the god of greed, murder, poison, and secrets, which kind of go hand in hand with each other. His enemies, of course, are Abadar, as we mentioned before. Apparently has nothing to do with gooey snacks. His worshippers are assassins, murderers, poisoners, politicians, shocker, spies, and thieves, which are all kind of clumped together in the same heap. With which I could not agree more. And that is the most political I will ever get here. His sacred animal is the spider. Sacred colors are black and gray. Dexterity, intelligence are his abilities. His allies are Akchakek and Savannah. So yeah. And he also lives in the realm of Axis. Dusk Fathom is his place. So he has boons of protecting secrets and lies. Poisons are everlasting. You become a living secret, wrapped in an enigma, covered in a secret sauce. And then, his curses obviously are he lets thieves and poisons and that get the better of you and so forth. So yeah, this is the Pantheon. This was the one I was like, oh my god, this chick here, she is Urgathoa or Ogathoa or Urgatho. She is the goddess of disease, gluttony, and undeath, which, as you can see from her lower half, that's a terrible image. Very well done image, and I like the way her scythe is also an axe on the other side, because me and axes and I, all three of us. She is neutral evil, which gods of disease, gluttony, and undeath. Yeah. The god of death is not necessarily evil. To some, the god of death would be a most welcome friend. Just a cease to the pain, and etc., etc. And actually, in Egypt, the Egyptians did not revile suicide because the life was good. They had the Nile gave them 2, sometimes 3 harvests a year because of the regular flooding before the Aswan Dam came in and messed up the whole cycle. But Egypt had 2 or 3 harvests a year. It was literally the breadbasket of the world. They called it that for a very good reason. And to them, death was not a bad thing. You had the Castle and the Basel. One stayed behind to play with your toys, which is why the crypts and the things, so forth. And then the other one went on to the afterlife, where it was great. And just because their life was so good. So if you're into any kind of anthropology, look at Louis Diamond in his book and documentary series called Guns, Germs, and Steel, which says basically that humanity was shaped almost entirely by geography, where they grew up, which is true. And the god of death, Set, was not necessarily a bad guy. It's a really interesting concept, the disparity from different cultures and their view of death, where not very far away in the Middle East, like Iran and Iraq, and the Tigris, which was a freaking river of death. You took your life in your own hands when you got into it. To them, the gods hated you, and after you died, they continued to hate you. So there was quite a yin and yang here. But my point is, gods of undeath are invariably evil, I believe. Then you have Zan Kuthan, which is the Midnight Lord, who looks like a band member of Slipknot. Show you his picture. He is I don't know which one it is. I don't listen to Slipknot. They're okay. So he's the lawful evil god of darkness, envy, loss, and pain, so forth and so on. So there's Achakek is a mantis, assassin's divine punishment, and the red mantis, he who walks in blood. His divine font is harm, etc., etc. So yeah, the more I look at the book, the more I like it. There are a number of demigods and other divinities, archdevils, the queens of the night, demon lords, the eldest, imperial lords, the horseman, which is an analogy or analog to the 4 horsemen in Christendom. Mother Vulture, the monitor of demigods, outer gods in the old one, the king in yellow. Hastur is by name, he who must not be named, by name, the king in yellow, as they say. Azathoth, Hastur, Nimbeloth, Nyarlathotep, Zamandur, Yog-Sothoth. Notice I didn't say any of those 3 times. Just to be safe. Now, it's funny, Cthulhu and the others, which Cthulhu wasn't in there, the Cthulhu and the others were completely, it was someone else, H.P. Lovecraft, I believe. But the green faith, and it talks about philosophies and spirituality, which is a really kind of a cool thing to give to characters that I noticed in this book, to give to folks who want to have, not just worship a single god. Like we have a group of Chord worshippers in 3.5, and they worship Chord, and they have abilities and skills that are based on that, courage and so forth. And this actually it allows for. I thought it was cool because it allows for something other than just my character is a follower of Ra or a follower of Bast. I'm into the Egyptian thing today, I guess. I don't know. This has pantheons, the Dwarven Pantheon, the Elven Pantheon, and it describes them. The Dwarven gods are one large family with Torag as its patriarch. He is joined by his brothers Magrum, the Taskmaster, Angrad, the Forge Fire, his half-sister Drangivit, the Debt Minder, and his wife Fulgrit, the Watchful Mother. His children are Bolka, the Golden Gift, Grundanar, the Peacemaker, Coles, the Oathkeeper, and Trud, the mighty witch with a name like Trud, you'd have to be. Tuareg's evil former student Droskar, the Darksmith, though technically part of the Dwarven Pantheon, is rarely invoked by any save the Duergar. So, yeah, the Dwarven Pantheon. And then it has the Elven Pantheon, which Calistria, Desna, Findaladrila, Allah. Findel Ladlara, the goddess of twilight and traditional art and architecture. Ketefis, the god of hunting and the moon. Uelrol, the goddess of gems, craft, and magic. And it says the elves have also adopted Alceta, the minor goddess of doors. Come on, baby, light my fire. Would that include the Lizard King then? Anyway, that's very old. I apologize. The God Claw, the Hell Knight Order of the God Claw, receive the pantheon of 5 deities. They can be lawful neutral, lawful good, or lawful evil. The God Claw, which it just opens the door to all. I mean, could you imagine this? And this immediately brings me to a thing. Imagine, if you will, a group of characters who are all in the order of the God Claw, and they are at war with another sect of the God Claw. One is, they could both be lawful neutral and hate the frack out of each other, and very much, because alignment has nothing to do with whether or not you hate somebody. Although lawful good should, kind of frown on the whole hate thing, but it just depends on what you're lawful good of, right? Lawful good cleric of Cord, for example, would have the courage to hate the sniveling followers of Blibdulpulp, or somewhere thereabouts. So that also has the esoteric of the Palatine Eye, God Calling, the Green Faith, Laws of Mortality, and the Pure Legion. It just goes on, and it gives a lot of things. It really does a very good job of allowing a character to be themselves, to be free to play a faith-based character without pigeonholing them into, you have to follow, Farlane, or, you can pick what's your deity. I have no deity. I worship them all because they all have their purpose in the world. Well, then, that's possible with this. And then the one thing that I thought was most creative is they have a section on atheists and free agents. I think that's a beautiful thing. Not whether or not, atheism is a thing. It is a thing. It is a belief. But I like their take on it. And behold, in a world where the gods demonstrably exist, few people uphold a strictly atheistic or agnostic worldview. That is a belief that there are no gods, or that the existence of gods is unknowable. However, a good number of people choose not to worship any deities whatsoever. Many do so because of the value they place on freedom. Okay, what comes to mind, right? Wrath of the Titans, Clash of the Titans, those 2 new movies with Sam Worthington. Is that his name? Yeah, I think so. He believed that the gods were unfairly and unjustly just screwing with people's lives capriciously and haphazardly, and it wasn't fair and it wasn't right, and he was going to depose them. And even, that video game does that too. Even though you know that gods exist, you don't believe that they should interfere, perhaps. And they don't worship gods. They believe in their own abilities and their own internal power to get them through. Just giving that as an option, to me, that says that the dudes at Paizo are some of the most open-minded people. Or even if they're not open-minded, I'm sure everybody there has their own beliefs, but the all-inclusiveness of this book, just 5 axes right there. So it gives character options. It goes to the feats, like Blessed Tonic, Blessed Toxin, Blessed Blood, Blessed Blood. I bless your blood. Ooh, I feel better. With each beat of my heart. The Battle Prayer. Lord, kill them, please. Mortal Healing. Numb to Death. That could be taken 2 different ways. I don't feel to death. a sacred key, and not the kind that opens the door, but the kind that you punch the piss out of somebody with, or break that lumber. Spells. It has a list of new spells. Befuddle. Cup of dust. What is that? You curse target with a thirst no drink can quench. You can dismiss the spell. Wow, it lasts for 1 day. Holy crap. Okay, in the movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves, the dude that could not drink. Remember that when he was lifting the cup and it would not pour out until he moved it away, the bottle? He broke it and he tried to pour it into his mouth and it wouldn't come out until he moved it away and then it all splashed out. That's the spell right here. Iron Gut, Reflective Scales, etc., etc. It's a decent list of spells, a decent list, and they're all faith-based. Then it has a list of domains, which include Change, Cold, Decay, Delirium, Dust, Duty, Glyph, Lightning, Plague. They're working overtime right now, here. In this world, not here. Repose, Sorrow, Soul, Star, Swarm, Time, Vigil, Void, and Vermkin. So a decent list of domains, and these are all new domains in addition to the ones in the core rulebook. So very nice, very nice. It has a list of Dwarven gods, which is the first thing I saw. Course, imagine that. In the appendix, it has the ancient Osirian gods, which they go by the name of Anubis, Bastet, Bes, Hathor, Horus, Isis, Ma'at, Osiris, Ra, Sekhmet, Selket, Sobek, Thoth, and Wadjet. So the Osirian gods, Osiris, you know. Then it has the archdevils, which Beelzebul, Barbatos, Belial, Despater, so forth. The demon lords, Abraxas, Gorgunta, etc. And it's got a list of their alignment title, domains, cleric spells, and their favored weapons. Divine ability, divine skill, divine font, key edicts, and their key anathemas for their worshippers. So you can, at a glance, look up your deity and say, oh, I didn't know that my god was a god of knowledge and truth, or whatever. So, and it has 3 elven gods, which is weird. Imperial lords, the horsemen, of which there are 4. Monitor demigods, other gods, outer gods, the great old ones. So yeah, I mean, it's fairly comprehensive, and again, they've done this wonderful thing with the glossary / index, which to me, that seems like a common sense idea that no one ever did before that I know of, where you look up a thing and it gives a glossary description of it and then the page where it can be found in depth. So, okay, look up one of the Darklands. Well, look it up in the back. The immense area of caverns, vaults, and passages beneath the surface of Galarion. Then it's found in Lost Omens World Guide, page 7 to 8, otherwise known as the Underdark and other game systems. So, you know, but it just tells you, it just gives you a glossary definition of it. So, yeah, I'm really taken with this as a game accessory. It goes for $34.99. And it is called Lost Omens, Gods and Magic. It is, I think it's a definite edition if you want to get very immersed in the Pathfinder 2nd edition. This is definitely, I believe, a keeper. It's not very big. I think they could have done a little bit more with the number of gods, even though the number of gods is tremendous in this book, and maybe they'll come out with a supplement later or something. I don't know. But it's, like I said, it's only like 135 pages, and which, to me, it disappoints me when a good book has finite pages, because I want there to be more, which is true in the case of this book. But it is it's still in and of its own right. It's an excellent accessory. And only being $35, it's not a bad deal. And it includes a lot. I think it will give your game a lot more depth. Make them spherical instead of just rounded characters. Which, you know, if you've taken any kind of an English Lit class, that will be a thing. Creative writing. That's my bag. That was my first degree, was creative writing. And I don't know how many professors I had. You don't want to just have rounded characters. You want to have them spherical, because all of my professors were British men, of course, which is absolutely not true. I give it 5 axes. Even the fact that it's thin, it still does what it does very, very well, and that gives it 5 axes. Plus the extra stuff, like the atheism as a thing, and the various other pantheons and lines of thought and paths of belief that it offers, and make your players go, well, that's I'm a Greenway. I worship the things. I'm not a druid, but I believe nature and yada yada. So yeah, 5 axes, $34.99. Get it. And with that being said, on behalf of the entire cast and crew of the Dwarven Tavern, I am Dr. Jeff Goins, and we all wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it, then I said a small prayer, and I charged. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.